The Medical Missionary Manual Summary Key Quotations. The following statements are from the health compilation we placed in the back of our very low-cost edition of Desire of Ages. The following statements reveal that obedience to the law of God includes the physical and health laws. The transgression of physical laws is the transgression of God's laws. Our Creator is Jesus Christ. He is the author of our being. He has created the human structure. He is the author of the physical laws, as he is the author of the moral law. And the human being who is careless and reckless of the habits and practices that concern his physical life and health sins against God. Letter, May 19, 1897. God's law is written by his own finger upon every nerve, every muscle, every faculty which has been entrusted to man. Letter, August 30, 1896. Health, strength, and happiness depend upon immutable laws, but these laws cannot be obeyed where there is no anxiety to become acquainted with them. Health Reformer. The Lord has made it a part of his plan that man's reaping shall be according to his sowing. Letter, May 19, 1897. To make plain natural law and urge the obedience of it is the work that accompanies the third angel's message to prepare a people for the coming of the Lord. Third Testimonies, page 161. There are many ways of practicing the healing art, but there is only one way that heaven approves. God's remedies are the simple agencies of nature that will not tax or debilitate the system through their powerful properties. Pure air and water, cleanliness, a proper diet, purity of life, and a firm trust in God are remedies for the want of which thousands are dying. Yet these remedies are going out of date because their skillful use requires work that the people do not appreciate. Fifth Testimonies, page 443. It is the duty of every human being, for his own sake and for the sake of humanity, to inform himself or herself in regard to the laws of organic life, and conscientiously to obey them. It is the duty of every person to become intelligent in regard to disease and its causes. Letter, December 4, 1896. God has formed the laws to govern every part of our constitutions, and these laws which he has placed in our being are divine, and for every transgression there is a fixed penalty, which sooner or later must be realized. Health Reformer. Our first duty, one which we owe to God, to ourselves, and to our fellow men, is to obey the laws of God, which include the laws of God. Third Testimonies, page 164. The laws governing the physical nature are as truly divine in their origin and character as the law of the Ten Commandments. Man is fearfully and wonderfully made, for Jehovah has inscribed his law by his own mighty hand on every part of the human body. Letter 5, 1896. Have I not a right to do as I please with my own body? No, you have no moral right, because you are violating the laws of life and health which God has given you. You are the Lord's property, his by creation and his by redemption. Every human being is under obligation to preserve the living machinery that is so fearfully and wonderfully made. Letter, May 19, 1897. Our very bodies are not our own, to treat as we please, to cripple by habits that lead to decay, making it impossible to render to God perfect service. Our lives and all our faculties belong to him. He is caring for us every moment. He keeps the living machinery in action. If we were left to run it for one moment, we should die. We are absolutely dependent upon God. Letter, October 12, 1896. The health should be as sacredly guarded as the character. Christian Temperaments, page 82. Proportionately as nature's laws are transgressed, mind and soul become enfeebled. Physical suffering of every type is seen. Suffering must follow this course of action. The vital force of the system cannot bear up under the tax placed upon it, and it finally breaks down. Letter, August 30, 1896. Sickness is caused by violating the laws of health. It is a result of violating nature's laws. Third Testimonies, page 164. Health is a great treasure. It is the richest possession that mortal can have. Wealth, honor, or learning is dearly purchased, if it be at the loss of the vigor of health. None of these attainments can secure happiness if health is wanting. Christian Education, page 16. That time is well spent which is directed to the establishment and preservation of sound physical and mental health. It is easy to lose health, but it is difficult to regain it. Review number 39, 1884. Perfect health depends on perfect circulation. Second Testimonies, page 531. Many have inquired of me, what course shall I take to best preserve my health? My answer is, cease to transgress the laws of your being, cease to gratify a depraved appetite, eat simple food, dress healthfully, which will require modest simplicity, work healthfully, and you will not be sick. Health Reformer. An aimless life is a living debt. The mind should dwell upon themes relating to our eternal interests. This will be conducive to health of body and mind. Review number 31, 1884. God has pledged himself to keep this living machinery in healthful action, if the human agent will obey his laws and cooperate with God. Letter, January 11, 1897. Let it ever be kept before the mind that the great object of hygienic reform is to secure the highest possible development of mind and soul and body. Christian Temperance, page 120. Nature will restore their vigor and strength in their sleeping hours if her laws are not violated. Solemn Appeal, page 16. Close confinement indoors makes women pale and feeble and results in premature death. Indulging in eating too frequently and in too large quantities overtaxes the digestive organs and produces a feverish state of the system. The blood becomes impure, and then diseases of various kinds occur. Spiritual Gifts, Volume 4, page 133. The effects produced by living in close, ill-ventilated rooms are these. The mind becomes depressed and gloomy, while the whole system is enervated, and fevers and other acute diseases are liable to be generated. The system is peculiarly sensitive to the influence of cold. A slight exposure produces serious diseases. First Testimonies, page 702. What influence does overeating have upon the stomach? It becomes debilitated, the digestive organs are weakened, and disease, with all its train of evils, is brought on as a result. Second Testimonies, page 364. The free use of sugar in any form tends to clog the system, and is not unfrequently a cause of disease. Counsels to Parents and Teachers, page 57. The liability to take disease is increased tenfold by meat eating. Second Testimonies, page 64. Rich and complicated mixtures of food are health destroying. Highly seasoned meats and rich pastry are wearing out the digestive organs. Letter, November 5, 1896. Drugging should be forever abandoned, for while it does not cure any malady, it enfeebles the system, making it more susceptible to disease. Fifth Testimonies, page 311. A neglect of cleanliness will induce disease. How to Live, chapter 4, page 61. Rooms that are not exposed to light and air become damp. Various diseases have been brought on by sleeping in these rooms. How to Live, page 243. Dwellings, if possible, should be built upon high and dry ground. If a house be built where water settles around it, remain for a time, and then drying away, a poisonous miasma arises, and fever and ague, sore throat, lung diseases, and fevers will be the result. How to Live, page 246. If the clothing worn is not often washed, it becomes filthy with impurities, which are thrown off from the body by sensible and insensible perspiration. The pores of the skin absorb again the waste matter thrown off. How to Live, page 242. When we do all we can on our part to have health, then may we expect that blessed results will follow, and we can ask God in faith to bless our efforts for the preservation of health. How to Live, page 246. The following statements are some of the best from the book you now have in hand. Because this is a low-cost book, you might wish to cut the following quotes out of a copy of the book and thumbtack them to the walls for all to read. True sympathy between man and his fellow men is to be the sign distinguishing those who fear and love God from those who are unmindful of his law. How great a sympathy that Christ expressed in coming to this world to give his life a sacrifice for a dying world. His religion led to the doing of genuine medical missionary work. Medical Ministry, page 251. The influences that are associated with health reform will commend it to the judgment of all who want light, and they will advance step by step to receive the special truths for this time. Sixth Testimonies, page 379. Henceforth, Medical missionary work is to be carried forward with an earnestness with which it has never yet been carried. This work is the door through which the truth is to find entrance to the large cities. Ninth Testimonies, page 167. We shall see the medical missionary work broadening and deepening at every point of its progress, because of the inflowing of hundreds and thousands of streams, until the whole earth is covered as the waters cover the sea. Medical Ministry, page 317. All around us are doors open for service. We should become acquainted with our neighbors and seek to draw them to Christ. As we do this, He will approve and cooperate with us. Counsels on Health, page 396. The breadth of gospel medical missionary work is not understood. The medical missionary work now called for is outlined in the commission which Christ gave to his disciples just before his ascension. All power is given unto me in heaven and earth, he said. Go ye therefore, and teach all nations, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Matthew 28 verses 18 to 20. These words point out our field and our work. Our field is the world, our work is the proclamation of truths which Christ came to our world to proclaim. Counsels on Health, page 509. Medical missionary work is the pioneer work of the gospel, the door through which the truth for this time is to find the entrance to many homes. God's people are to be genuine medical missionaries, for they are to learn to minister to the needs of both soul and body. The purest unselfishness is to be shown by our workers as, with the knowledge and experience gained by the practical work, they go out to give treatments to the sick. As they go from house to house, they will find access to many hearts. Welfare Ministry, page 125. There are many ways of practicing the healing art, but there is only one way that heaven approves. God's remedies are the simple agencies of nature that will not tax or debilitate the system through their powerful properties. Counsels on Health, page 323. We have no time to lose. The end is near. The passage from place to place to spread the truth will soon be hedged with dangers on the right hand and on the left. Everything will be placed to obstruct the way of the Lord's messengers, so that they will not be able to do that which it is possible for them to do now. We must look our work fairly in the face and advance as fast as possible in aggressive warfare. Evangelism, pages 30 to 31. Before the true reformer, the medical missionary work will open many doors. No one need wait until called to some distant field before beginning to help others. Wherever you are, you can begin at once. Opportunities are within the reach of everyone. Take up the work for which you are held responsible, the work that should be done in your home and in your neighborhood. Wait not for others to urge you to action. In the fear of God, go forward without delay, bearing in mind your individual responsibility to Him who gave His life for you. Act as if you heard Christ calling you personally to do your utmost in His service. Look not to see who else is ready. If you are truly consecrated, God will, through your instrumentality, bring into the truth others whom He can use as channels to convey light to many that are groping in darkness. Counsels on Health, pages 425 to 426. We are not to cover mercy with selfishness and then call it medical missionary work. Medical Ministry, page 131. Never should appearance be depended on as a means of success. This is a delusion. It is like a canker that is ever eating into the vitals. Counsels on Health, page 277. Many sanitariums are to be established. They are not to be large, but sufficiently complete to do a good and successful work. Counsels on Health, page 225. Watch the little outgoes. Stop every leak. It is the losses that tell heavily in the end. Gather up the fragments. Let nothing be lost. Waste not the minutes in talking. Wasted minutes mar the hours. Persevering diligence, working in faith, will always be crowned with success. Counsels on Health, pages 304 to 305. My warning is, keep out of the cities, build no sanitariums in the cities, educate our people to get out of the cities and into the country, where they can obtain a small piece of land and make a home for themselves and their children. Country Living, page 10. We must do more than we have done to reach the people of our cities. We are not to erect large buildings in the cities, but over and over again the light has been given me that we should establish in all our cities small plants which shall be the centers of influence. There should be regular hours for working, regular hours for eating. Medical Ministry, page 79. The simpler remedies are less harmful than drug poisons in proportion to their simplicity, but in very many cases these are used when not at all necessary. There are simpler herbs and roots that every family may use for themselves, and they need not call a physician any sooner than they would call a lawyer. Second Selected Messages, page 279. Why do not two or three meet together and plead with God for the salvation of some special one, and then for still another? The formation of small companies as a basis of Christian effort has been presented to me by one who cannot err. If there is a large number in the church, let the members be formed into small companies, to work not only for the church members, but for the unbelievers. If in one place there are only two or three who know the truth, let them form themselves into a band of workers. Let them keep their bond of union unbroken, pressing together in love and unity, encouraging one another to advance, each gaining courage and strength from the assistance of the others. Seventh Testimonies, pages 21 to 22. The truth for this time, the third angel's message, is to be proclaimed with a loud voice as we approach the great final test. This test must come to the churches in connection with true medical missionary work, a work that has the great physician to dictate and preside in all its comprehends. Loma Linda Messages, page 62. The medical missionary workers are doing the long neglected work which God gave to the church. They are giving the last call to the supper which He has prepared. Eighth Testimonies, page 71. Pure air, sunlight, abstemiousness, rest, exercise, proper diet, the use of water, trust in divine power, these are the true remedies. Every person should have a knowledge of nature's remedial agencies and how to apply them. It is essential both to understand the principles involved in the treatment of the sick and to have a practical training that will enable one rightly to use this knowledge. The use of natural remedies requires an amount of care and effort that many are not willing to give. Nature's process of healing and upbuilding is gradual, and to the impatient it seems slow. The surrender of hurtful indulgences requires sacrifice, but in the end it will be found that nature, untrammeled, does her work wisely and well. Those who persevere in obedience to her laws will reap the reward in health of body and health of mind. Ministry of Healing, page 127. Special instruction should be given in the art of treating the sick without the use of poisonous drugs, and in harmony with the light that God has given. In the treatment of the sick, poisonous drugs need not be used. Testimonies for the Church, Volume 9, page 175. Nature's simple remedies will aid in recovery without leaving the deadly after effects so often felt by those who use poisonous drugs. Second Selected Messages, page 281. If they take the position that in praying for healing, they must not use the simple remedies provided by God to alleviate pain and to aid nature in her work, lest it be a denial of faith, they are taking an unwise position. This is not a denial of faith, it is in strict harmony with the plans of God. In everything, we need to move along the line of God's providence. The human agent should have faith and should cooperate with the divine power, using every facility, taking advantage of everything that, according to his intelligence, is beneficial, working in harmony with natural laws, and in doing this, he neither denies nor hinders faith. Counsels on Health, pages 381 to 382. When we have prayed for the recovery of the sick, whatever the outcome of the case, let us not lose faith in God. But should health be restored, it should not be forgotten that the recipient of healing mercy is placed under renewed obligation to the Creator. Ministry of Healing, page 233. The only hope of better things is in the education of the people in right principles. Let physicians teach the people that restorative power is not in drugs, but in nature. Ministry of Healing, page 127. Disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health. In case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained, unhealthful conditions should be changed, wrong habits corrected. Then nature is to be assisted in her efforts to expel impurities and to re-establish right conditions in the system. The use of natural remedies requires an amount of care and effort that many are not willing to give. Nature's process of healing and upbuilding is gradual, and to the impatient it seems slow. The surrender of hurtful indulgences requires sacrifice, but in the end it will be found that nature, untrammeled, does her work wisely and well. Those who persevere in obedience to her laws will reap the reward in health of body and health of mind. Ministry of Healing, page 127. Thousands have died for the want of pure water and pure air, who might have lived. And thousands of invalids, who are a burden to themselves and others, think that their lives depend upon taking medicines from the doctors. They are continually guarding themselves against the air and avoiding the use of water. These blessings they need in order to become well. If they would become enlightened and let medicine alone and accustom themselves to outdoor exercise and to air in their houses, summer and winter, and use soft water for drinking and bathing purposes, they would be comparatively well and happy, instead of dragging out a miserable existence. Counsels on Health, pages 55 to 56. But many have never learned by experience the beneficial effects of the proper use of water, and they are afraid of it. Water treatments are not appreciated as they should be, and to apply them skillfully requires work that many are unwilling to perform. There are many ways in which water can be applied to relieve pain and check disease. Ministry of Healing, page 237. The true method for healing the sick is to tell them of the herbs that grow for the benefit of man. Scientists have attached large names to these simplest preparations, but true education will lead us to teach the sick that they need not call in a doctor any more than they would call in a lawyer. They can themselves administer the simple herbs if necessary, to educate the human family that the doctor alone knows all the ills of infants and persons of every age is false teaching. And the sooner we as a people stand on the principles of health reform, the greater will be the blessing that will come to those who would do true medical work. In simple language, we may teach the people how to preserve health, how to avoid sickness. This is the work our sanitariums are called upon to do. This is true science. Spalding Megan Collection, page 137. Our faith requires us to elevate the standard of reform and take advanced steps. The condition of our acceptance with God is a practical separation from the world. The Lord calls upon us as people, come out from among them and be ye separate. Counsels on Health, pages 50 to 51. This is the end of the book, The Medical Missionary Manual by Vance Ferrell.